The next step is to determine the orientation for the stirrup. Remember that the medial malleolus is anterior to the lateral, so the stirrup is going to sit on the shoe like so. It's going to have this angulation to it, which, as you can see, if it's like this, it's going to be off center. If it's like this, it's going to be centered more. So you need to play with it and determine which way it's going to sit the best. It looks to me like this one will sit like this better. One of the things to remember is, in general, if you have a stirrup, and this is typically true with split channel stirrups that are marked right or left, they're usually marked backwards. So don't just trust the marking. You may wind up with something in the wrong place. So from that point, we determine the midpoint of the stirrup, and that's the midpoint this way and the midpoint this way, and drill a number 30 or 28 hole. This is not a construction item, but it's, as you'll see later, allows us to position the stirrup on the shoe and orient the angulation of the shoe without missing the anterior-posterior alignment. From that point, we've measured from that center point outward half the distance of the width of the shoe plus 3 millimeters. So half the distance for us was 37 millimeters, and add 3 to that, so that's 4 centimeters from here to here. This is placed in the stirrup fixture.
And the 3 millimeters is to account for the amount that you lose for the curve.
Right. Every right angle contour takes up approximately 3 millimeters of material. So it's aligned so that this posterior line of the stirrup is at 90 degrees to the contouring fixture, like so. And once this is done, you want to make sure that you take your Allen wrench and lock this. What it does is it keeps this from sliding, because you want this to be symmetrical. So once this is contoured, you unscrew this nut, take this off, flip it around, and contour the other side, and you get an exact symmetrical contour. So we're ready to contour this now. This goes in here, and I hope I can do this without turning the table over. It only gets hard when you get down to the last few degrees. Okay. So we'll unscrew this. Remember, this is tight. Flip this over. And again, we want to take the square and make sure that the alignment on that back edge is 90 degrees to this. It looks good there. So now tighten this and contour the other one. There's the finished contoured stirrup. So the alignment now for the stirrup is the hole that we've drilled lines up with the mid shoe line. Okay. So now we have to pull these in a bit because we didn't get a full 90-degree contour. That'll work. Incidentally, that vise is mounted backwards. It's adjustable really on the inside of the table rather than the outside. It's very important when you're doing this to keep your contouring surfaces square so that you don't produce an angulation. So now you see these points are aligned. So at that point, I need to change this angulation just ever so slightly. And the same thing here.
And you want to keep your contouring instruments distal to where the stirrup is going to be inside the clevis joint.
Yes, absolutely. And that's that 25mm mark you've made. So, there we have it. And as you can see, our contouring is such, and we're somewhat limited by the size of the stirrup, that the actual axis is maybe a millimeter and a half off of the ankle axis. And that's just something that we have to accept.
And that's because stirrups come in 1/2 inch sizes.
Yes.
Now we're checking the squareness.
So, square.
Beautiful. I'm saying he's done this before. Chances are you're going to have to do this a couple times.